Hi everybody, it's Denise with Bit Bougie. I am sitting at my Juki 1541S. I call her my J3. My J3 because she was my third Juki. And I wanted to share just a little bit with you all some things that I do as far as the needle size I use, the threads that I use, and I have 4 different thicknesses of leather. Okay, so I'm going to run through that one by one, and we're going to switch out back and forth so I can show you what the difference is, and hopefully that helps you all in discovering your own sweet spot, because you will see there are charts out there of thread and needle. Okay, those are always suggested. Now, in my machine, 99% of the time, I will have a size 20 needle. And a lot of people will say that's too big. Well, it's not for my taste. I like what my bags look like when I use the size 20. Now, I use a different tip. So that's something that everybody has to understand too. There are different tips out there on your leather. So we're going to go through that too. So you've got your Juki in. It's the first time you've sat in front of an industrial machine, and you're thinking, how intimidating is this? So the first thing you should probably do, just to get comfortable with the machine, this is my opinion, but don't jump into a project. Get yourself some really cheap leather and layer it 2 layers thick as if it was a handle. Handles are most likely 2 layers, and just top stitch it. Hold your threads, because if you don't hold your threads, that thread is going to wind up in your bobbin case, okay? User error number 1. Don't do it. Hold your threads. Now, sometimes if you watch me, I may not hold my thread, but I'm going to drop that needle with the hand crank. I'm going to drop it down into the project. So I don't always tend to hold my thread as tight, but until you get familiar with where your spot is, you want to hold that, okay? So when you get your machine in, you are actually going to have a piece of leather, and this is 3 layers thick, and this tells you that it's been run by the factory before they actually shipped it to you, and it's good, okay? So when I got this in, I looked at it, I'm like, well, that's perfect. So I put this in my drawer. I don't know why I'm saving this, but I put this in my drawer, and from here on out, the last few years, the tension, I have had to move very little, okay? And I can go from a Tex 70 to a Tex 135 and be almost perfectly fine. I just switch out my different tips on my needles, okay? So with that said, once you get familiar with the machine, go ahead and try different things. Try different size needles. Try different size threads. And the best thing is, do a swatch before you start any project, because it'll save you a lot of money. You won't be throwing out your leather. You won't be wasting projects. And there's also another thing that I know a lot of people say, that they have under their machine is a control box, and it has a dial, and it has a bunch of numbers on there. So I know some people are at a really low speed. I have a servo motor on mine. All of my machines have servo motors. They're all on full speed. But that doesn't mean that when I put my foot on the pedal that they're going to just blow away, okay? Your foot pedal, you need to learn to control. And you can control it with your foot. If you feel the machine and use your right hand, when you feel that wheel, you can actually move as if it's just doing 1 stitch at a time, very slowly. That comes with practice, okay? Anything comes with practice nowadays. So I want to show you that I do have my machine. I'm hoping you can see that, okay? I have it on full speed, okay? And that is fine for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put the camera in the tripod. And then we will go from here, and I will put it down so you can actually see what I'm doing with the machine. I'm gonna guide you through. I'm gonna rethread while we're watching, and I'm gonna show you all of the leather, and we're gonna go through all the needles, and hopefully that'll help, because it might make a little easier on what you're picking, how you're picking out leather, how you're picking out your thread, you know, what you want it to look like. It's all important of the final touch, the finish. So let's get started.